I recognize your presence and the symbol of our collective commitment to the girl child of the Nigerian boys and girls all together. In line with the Renewed Hope agenda, the Federal Ministry of Education, as well as UBEC, has invested a lot of programs, interventions, and financing to the education of the girl child across all the states in Nigeria. The recent migration of the Lumina to the Commission to amplify girl child education is a testament of our collaborative effort to empower and educate the Nigerian girl child. At the Universal Basic Education Commission, we recognize that education is a great equalizer and inclusion is its backbone. That is why we are working closely with all the relevant agencies, stakeholders, to ensure that no child is left behind, particularly girl child and girl child with disability. The theme is chosen because it's a bold, necessary reminder that inclusivity is key. Education is a right for every girl child, for the girl child that is hearing impaired, for the girl child that cannot see, for the girl child that is living in an extreme rural and poor area, for the most vulnerable girl child. We celebrate you today. We want to assure you that we have seen you. And all girl childs have the potential to move the nation. We want to affirm our collective commitment and responsibility to protect the dignity of the girl child and equip her with the leadership regardless of her abilities and challenges. Today, we take that commitment a step further, championing the learning of sign language in our basic education. This does not in any way downplay the challenges faced, but to bring it to the top of our priorities. I would like to remind you that there is a policy already in place by the Federal Ministry of Education under the leadership of Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, and Professor Suwaiba Ahmed, that inclusive education is the right for every child. The inclusive policy guides what we do in UBEC. Any school we build, teaching learning materials we distribute, furniture we equip, we do it with the necessary measures to ensure accessibility for children with disability, particularly girl child. Our restructuring policy makes it mandatory for schools to include the necessary ramp, the spatial watch facilities, spatial teaching learning materials, spatial training for teachers to ensure they can cater for the unique abilities for the girl child and all children with disabilities. We are also working in synergy with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, to provide regular hearing checks to identify and manage cases of hearing impairment, to quickly ensure ensure that the necessary measures and assistance will be provided to the children. We are working also with SHI to ensure that all children in our primary schools will be tested early for any assistance that they might need, whether in seeing or in hearing, and providing them with the necessary equipment to bridge this gap. No girl child should suffer in silence. No girl child should be abused in any way. That is why we are reinforcing the protection mechanism in schools. Bullying has been outlawed. Our schools must be safe where every child can grow and dream freely. To every girl here and across the nation, with or without disability, you are important. We reaffirm our commitment to cater for your need and make you the leader for tomorrow. All girl childs here present across the nation, we want to assure you that we can see you. You are brilliant, you are vibrant, and full of purpose. You are a leader in making, and your voice and your achievement matters. To the parents, teachers, siblings, and caregivers, we urge you to show empathy and ensure that the necessary assistance is given to all children with disabilities, particularly girl child, to appreciate also their strength, resilience, and beauty. When it feels overwhelming, parents, your support is counted upon. UBEC and other relevant agencies will ensure to be with you every step of the way. When we all commit to learning sign language, we establish communication, we build friendship, and we create a world where every child belongs. Let this be the generation that collectively lead change with strong resolve and conviction. Your voice counts. Use it for your empowerment, not by exclusion, but by inclusion. As the Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, as a passionate advocate for every child, including girl child, and children living with disabilities, I stand with you today. I care, and I'm there, and I will support every step of the way. And together, we will lead one change at a time. Thank you. God bless.
Like me, achieving our goals can sometimes be harder. We face barriers like poor accessibility in schools. We can't do much, but we can and we do. With support, inclusivity, and understanding, we can reach any height we dream of. All we need is a fair chance. I thank the Federal Ministry of Education and Universal Basic Education Commission for giving girls like me the chance to stand my voice harder. Today, we lend our voices collectively for the children with disability, because our voices matter. That goes to say, as the girl you are, you can lead the change you need. I want you all to say it with me. The girl I am, the change I need. 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 I would like to call on my fellow minister, Professor Suwaiba said Ahmed, for discussion.
Good afternoon, Larissa, and good afternoon, everyone. Let me say that I admire you. I love the way that you are confident and you are able to speak to all of us. We will encourage you and support you in whatever way that we can. Now, coming back to the question, I don't know where you paid attention to the speech by the UBEC, but Nigeria as a country, we have an inclusive education policy. The inclusive education policy is a comprehensive policy that addresses the different items or issues around inclusivity, ranging from infrastructure to instructional materials, learning materials for those that are special. So we have that policy, and all agencies and departments and parastatals under the Ministry of Education are expected to abide by the provisions in that policy. In fact, just to add emphasis on the recognition by this government to ensure each and every Nigerian is taken along in terms of reforms, the vision contained in the Renewed Hope Agenda 2030 Roadmap for Education. Our vision is inclusive quality education for all. Inclusive is the term, is the goal here. Inclusive means providing opportunity for people with special needs like you, not only to learn, but flourish, to achieve your full potential. We have that provision. The UBEC is there to ensure that all buildings, capital projects are taking account of special needs. At the same time, in the provision of textbooks, learning materials, instructional materials, they are also in line with that particular policy. And the tertiary level is also the same. At the same time, we have special interventions that are going for those with special needs. These special interventions include assistive technologies, include other needed physical or even infrastructural facilities that will actually ensure that these schools have access to that.
What is being done to make sure schools are safe and welcoming for every child, no matter their condition?
Thank you once again. Unfortunately, bullying is an act that is happening in our schools, especially for students with special disability. Coming on board, one of the first policies we did, let me mention this. As the Ministry of Education, we have a lot of policies. We looked at the existing policy and decided that we'll focus less on policy and more on implementation. But because of the cases, reported cases of bullying in school, we decided that we need to be very proactive in addressing the issue around bullying. And that was why we developed the anti-bullying policy, which has been approved and is being implemented right now. The policy is not just about what to do when bullying happens, but it's also about preventive measures. We don't want to act after it happens. We want to prevent it from happening. So the anti-bullying policy is a comprehensive policy that identifies the different kinds of bullying, because sometimes it's not just about the physical bullying, but there are different forms of bullying. There are some students, some teachers, even administrators are not even aware that those acts are also considered as bullying and have both emotional and physical damage to the candidate that is being bullied. Therefore, we identify the different kinds of bullying and also measures and clear pathway, reporting pathways and also clear what to do in terms of any of the category of bullying that was identified is to occur in the school. That is not the only thing that we did. At the same time, we also created a technical working group. The technical working group are a working group that ensures the full implementations of the provisions in that policy. The technical working group is at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government level, and even at the school level. Each school is supposed to have a technical working group that addresses anything to do with bullying. So I assure you that with the sensitization we did, and also with the existence of that policy and the mechanism in place to ensure that the provisions in the policy are fully implemented, you will have an environment that is not only accessible to you, but also is open for learning without any fear of any form of bullying.
Daga wajen Ubangiji ya gaya zai yi, na kuma karɓi jarabawa na Allah ya bani ikon cinye ta, amma ina neman wani taimako a wurin ku saboda Allah. Wa'annan yara gaba ɗaya saboda hidiman makarantar su trader da ke provision kenan, wallahi duk abin da nake da shi sai da ya ƙare tun daga asibitin su har zuwa makarantar su. Yanzu kai na gidan da nake zaune da su, wallahi na sayar da shi saboda hidimar su. Tunani nake yi yanzu ma nan da 'yan watanni kaɗan za a ce in fita gida, in je in ɗauko su in dawo da su, an ba da hutu. Ina tunanin wannan abu kullum da kuka nake kwantawa, wallahi ina bukata a taimaka masa saboda Allah. Yanzu haka ma makaranta sai da ta tura man da kuɗi 15,000 in kawo yayan wannan Lawisa din. 10,012 ake biya in zo nan makaranta, in na koma kuma 12,000. To 15,000 da na biya kuɗin mota mun ci abinci da saura ko sisi ban da shi yanzu in ban da wannan 10 naira da ban da abin da zan koma. Wallahi na gode, Allah ya kara arziki.
Like a newborn to a mother, until he furnished my identity with identity. The woman that claimed to love me forced them down my throat and reflex made me swallow. She told me that my body was an abandoned temple, rejected by the one who created it, as if God makes mistakes whole. He embedded a question mark in me and forgot to proofread before publishing. Rotten, broken, poorly written was the artificial renaming of this body. And what do children know about language and identity? They swallow anything, regurgitate, chew until it becomes a part of them, like a metaphor. I was a skilled reader. My eyes knew how to identify others like me in shows like The Ugly Duckling, Ugly Betty, Hunchback of Notre Dame before I could spell my name. I knew how to read the expressions, and every letter was emailed to memory, and that was indeed an indication that I was a rotten poem. And there were days where I attempted to erase myself. I begged God to squeeze me and throw me to the back like a rotten piece of literature. Now I wonder how a child can recognize stigma before her own place, before she can dance through her ABCs, convincing her that you are one embers. My girls are not people. We create our language.
Today, to our girls that we are celebrating, especially for everyone, we have been encouraged to do one thing. Please, let's try to be inclusive in all we do. Leadership is not just about holding power, like I say to people. It is about finding a purpose and acting where there is a need. And here today we have seen the need to act because there is a purpose for that. And that is because we need to do something to encourage our own children who are physically or somehow impaired, whether by hearing or whether by permanent impairment or mind impairment. So today we say, take a lead and cause a change. The girl I am, the girl I am. I think this should be our slogan from now till next year, when we'll be having the next International Day of the Girl Child. So when I say the girl I am, you say the change I need. The girl I am. Thank you for the opportunity.
They were girls. girls. We were given the opportunity to learn, to grow, to breathe, and here we are, making changes in the various places we have been placed to lead, to nurture, to guide and direct all our children, the future leaders, and becoming despite all odds. We just listened to a beautiful poem by one of them. Well done. Thank you. The worldwide focus on the unique challenges of girls is key to draw attention to the girl child, her unique qualities and potentials. The UBEC's focus on learning sign language today is apt and resonates deeply as it emphasizes inclusion, empathy, and equal opportunity. Inclusivity, particularly for girls who are deaf or hard of hearing, enables the girls to have access to participate fully in education, social activities, and community life. Communication is vital to every part of our daily lives, especially sign language. It provides a vital means of communication for girls who are in the special needs category, and of course, knowledge sharing. Language empowers them to take control of their lives. They make informed decisions and pursue their goals. As mothers who love all their children regardless of the challenges, we advocate for sign language teachers in most basic education learning centers. One way this can be tackled is to incorporate basic sign language curriculum in our teacher training scheme, and also make it compulsory for anyone who wants to teach to upskill in that area. The role of the relevant policymakers and agencies is to ensure we have adequate sign language instructors any and everywhere girls and infant boys go to school. Implementation is key. Yes, education is on the concurrent list, but the federal government can and should ensure that certain policies are implemented across the country. All children are important, whether able or disabled. The theme for today challenged me to learn something about sign language, and I learned one. And I'm going to say it here. I love you. Hello? Thank you.
They have a drama to showcase. The topic of the drama is the struggle of a deaf child in the society today. So you will sit and watch. Here is a family of 4. They have 2 girls. They are twins, Taye and Kehinde. One is hearing, the other one is a deaf. The hearing one is going inside to greet the parents. They are showing her love. The mother requested for money to give to her to go to school. They have her to learn in school very well. Here comes Kehinde, the deaf one. She's a deaf. As you can see, the parents threw their face away. They are home to go to find. The other one is in class, learning. She's owing. She's doing what the parents asked her to go and do. But she's doing it without happiness in her. She's doing it without happiness in her. She's peeping at the twin sister in the class. Why are you peeping? She said the parents are not ready to train her because she's a deaf. The teacher said, let's go there, let's go to your house. They are there in the house. The teacher is asking the parents, why do you refuse to train her? They said she's deaf. What can she do? What can become of her? The teacher is telling them, it's wrong. Why will you train one and leave the other? Because she's a deaf, I will take up her responsibility. The hearing one is coming back home. The one that they are ready to train. The parents are begging her that they are sorry. If they don't, they will have trained her. They are not ready to train her. They are giving her money also. That's the end of our drama. On my field, some of the problems we face, we have problems like instructional materials to educate this. Also appreciate the UBEC for putting this program to showcase sign language for the deaf children.
This year's celebration reminds us of the urgent need to continue creating safe, inclusive, and empowering spaces where every girl child can learn, grow, and thrive free from fear, violence, and exploitation. At NAPTIP, we recognize that the education and protection of the girl child are essential to breaking cycles of poverty, abuse, and trafficking. An educated girl is not only empowered to make informed choices, choices about her future, but also become a catalyst for positive transformation in her family, community, and nation. NAPTIP commends universal basic education for its steadfast commitment to promoting access to quality education for all children, especially girls. NAPTIP remains a strong partner in this mission and will continue to collaborate with UBEC and other stakeholders to safeguard the dignity of every child in Nigeria. Congratulations and best wishes for a successful event. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me sincerely thank the management of UBEC for making me be part of this great occasion. An occasion that reminds us of the girl child. And I think there couldn't be a better way or avenue through which we remember the girl child other than functions such as this. I also want to commend the Minister of Education for facilitating this program. The theme of this program today has to do with a phrase called Lead a Change, Learn Sign Language today. I would like to believe that this theme is symbolic, given the kind of activities that have taken place here where both sign language is promoted and people are encouraged to advocate for the use of sign language. I've also seen people with disability, vision disability, physical disability, who have become part of this function. I'm so excited because it follows without saying that the reason behind the theme is to ensure justice, equity, and inclusion. This single event has actually given hope, given encouragement to people with disability, especially students and especially girls. I would like to believe that if we who are parents, teachers, or have one thing or another to do with people with disability, take interest and advocate on the challenges these children are facing, I think it will go a long way in giving scope to such affected persons. As I speak with you, I belong to this constituency because I'm a person living with disability. So I'm very much at home in this function. And I would like to say that people with disability, whatever it is, should not be worried, should not be bothered, should not agonize, because you have a government in place that is very caring. Particularly with the Minister of Education now, that we have very competent, very committed people headed the ministry, Dr. Alausa and Professor Swaiba. I think the sky will be the limit of people with disability. Beyond that, don't forget, the government has already given comfort to people with disability, especially with the enactment of the disability law. I was privileged to be amongst the advocates way back about 8, 9 years in this project. And as God will have it, the government approved this, and now we have a disability law in place. We also have a disability commission, which presides over the welfare and well-being of people with disability. I believe the hope for people living with disability is raised, and I would urge us to take the opportunity of the motivation the government is giving towards ensuring that everyone is carried along. And I want to assure you, given the kind of environment I have found in UBEC that takes charge of basic and primary education, the foundation for a given score and comfort to people with disability will be promoted to the highest level. Before I conclude, let me also advise that we as parents and people that have one thing or another to do with people with disability, we should do whatever we can to encourage people with disabilities. And there are quite a number of people who have such challenges, and unfortunately they may not be able to afford giving them the necessary care that such children require. I think those of us who are part and parcel of this society, we should be participating one way or the other to give certain support, no matter how small, to such categories of people. I would also like to observe that if we take interest in things like sign language, participate in activities that promote sign language, like in schools and institutions, form a club of sign language. Parents with children with disability, whether deaf or so, should also take interest in sign language because communication is key in a child's welfare and well-being. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, apart from sign language, like I said earlier, this ceremony is symbolic. We should also promote those things that will encourage people with different categories of disability to live a worthwhile life. Sign language, braille in public places where the blind will be able to touch and know his or her direction. In any environment, whether school or public outfit, the place should be lit because people with hearing disability would be comfortable when it is lit and they can see signs, which is their second ear. We should also encourage our curriculum to include sign language at all levels so that anybody who attends any position or is in a position to communicate with people with disability, especially the deaf, will be able to communicate effectively. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, let me sincerely thank UBEC and the Minister of Education for giving us the opportunity to meet with these very impressionable children. And on this note, I would like, with the permission of the Honorable Minister, to make a token contribution because that was an appeal. And I'm glad with the Honorable Minister that I can go ahead to make my humble support for the parent of these three blind children. With permission of the Honorable Minister. With the permission of the Honorable Minister, I would like to support him with 1 million naira.
As Special Assistant to the Honorable Minister for Women Affairs and Social Development, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, on strategic partnerships and strategic communications. It is an absolute privilege to join you all here today on this important commemoration of the 2025 International Day of the Girl Child with the theme, Learn Sign Language Today. On behalf of the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, I extend her warm greetings and appreciation to the Universal Basic Education Commission for convening this timely event and for your continued work in promoting inclusive education for all children in Nigeria. This year's theme reminds us that communication is empowerment. When we teach and learn sign language, we are not just learning words, we are opening doors. Doors to inclusion, to understanding, and to equality. We are saying to every girl here today, you have a voice, and the world deserves to hear it. At the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, under the Renewed Hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, we remain fully committed to advancing gender transformative and inclusive policies that leave no girls behind. We are working with determination to ensure that every girl, whether living in a rural village, displaced by conflict, or living with disability, has access to protection, education, quality education, healthcare, and opportunities to thrive. Under the Renewed Hope Social Impact Intervention 774, the Ministry is implementing a nationwide framework that reaches girls at health and empowerment. We are also championing the National Child Rights Action and a national costed action plan on ending violence against children, while working closely with other ministries and state governments to ensure stronger implementation and protection mechanisms. The ministry continues to advocate against harmful practices such as child marriage, female genital mutilation, and gender-based violence, while also supporting second chance and re-entry education for girls who have dropped out of school due to pregnancy or hardship. Beyond protection, we are intentional about empowerment. We believe that when girls are educated, confident, and included, they grow into women who transform nations. This is why the ministry continues to strengthen partnerships with organizations such as UBEC, the Federal Ministry of Education, and our international development partners to integrate inclusivity, digital learning, and life skills into every girl's education experience. As we commemorate this International Day of the Girl's Child, we are reminded that learning sign language is symbolic of a larger message, the message that every voice matters. Our girls deserve not only to be seen, but to be heard in every language and through every platform. So today, we renew our collective commitment to build classrooms that are inclusive, communities that are protective, and systems that are empowering. Together, under the Renewed Hope Agenda, we are building a Nigeria where no girl is left behind, not because of where she is born, not because of her ability, and not because of her circumstances. On behalf of the Honorable Minister, I once again thank the Universal Basic Education Commission, led by Mrs. Aisha Daba, for her leadership in championing inclusive learning and ensuring that every Nigerian girl has a fair chance at a bright future.
Our passionate and highly dedicated chairman of the Board of Universal Basic Education Commission, we recognize you. We recognize your dedication and contribution to UBEC, and we thank you for your kind gesture to the father of Louisa. We thank you. Please, let's give him a round of applause. My sister, the ES of UBEC, Aisha Garba, a sister that turned into a friend. We are always gossiping during meetings. And of course, we have similar priorities and similar outlook and similar background. And that is why we work closely and towards the same goal in ensuring inclusive quality education. For her at UBEC level, that is basic level. For me, across all the levels, primary up to tertiary level of education. The Deputy Executive Secretary of UBEC Technical, I recognize you and your effort also. FCT Subeb Chair, representative of the National Council for Women's Society, representative of NAPTIP, permit me, I'm sorry. Let me recognize the director in charge of Agile, the NPCU Agile program, Hajia Amina. Thank you. We recognize the girl child. We recognize our activities and actions and programs targeting the girl child. I will say that for this team, lead a change, learn and sign language. I'm going to talk to the team, but I would like to apologize. I will apologize because I'm focusing too much on a particular special need. And we have the likes of Louisa making presentation, who have a visual impairment. And our point, who is also a physically challenged individual. I would have loved it if the theme is on girls with special needs, if the team focused on all the special needs. I noticed that all the other people that spoke actually tried to ensure that they capture them, because I can hear the UBEC board chair, also trying to focus on the others, so that they don't feel left out. The key word is what? Inclusion. And we should include all girls with special needs. So please, I'm apologizing, I'll focus more on because the theme says, leader change, learn science language today. But it doesn't mean that we are neglecting you. We are focusing on everyone. For us, it is inclusion. I'm very happy to join you today in commemorating the 2025 International Day of the Girl, a global observance dedicated to recognizing the rights of the girl and highlighting the unique challenges they face. This year's theme, Learn Science Language Today, reminds us of the powerful truth. Every girl deserves to be seen, heard, and understood, regardless of her abilities or circumstances. Today, as we celebrate the potential of every Nigerian girl, we must also reflect on those whose voices are often unheard, particularly girls with hearing impairment and other forms of disability or special needs. For too long, barriers in communication have denied them equal opportunities to learn, to express themselves, and fully participate in a society. Learning science language is therefore not only an act of inclusion, it is an act of empowerment and respect for the dignity of all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Ministry of Education, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the Honorable Minister of Education, my brother, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, CON, is deeply committed to building an inclusive education system, one that leaves no child behind. Through the National Policy on Inclusive Education, we are strengthening efforts to ensure that children with disabilities, including those with hearing challenges, have access to quality education in a safe and supportive environment. We are also working to expand the capacity of teachers in special education, support the provision of assistive technologies, and encourage the teaching of science language in schools. These efforts are part of our broader National Education Sector Renewal Initiative, NESRI, which prioritizes equity, accessibility, and inclusion as key pillars of educational transformation in Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Education is championing Adolescent Girl Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, AGILE, supported by the World Bank, across 18 states in Nigeria. The project is designed to improve access, retention, and learning outcomes for adolescent girls in secondary school, particularly those in disadvantaged and underserved communities. Of course, that is not the only thing we are doing. For us, as I mentioned, girls are priority. We also have the Lumina 2030 initiative, which is targeted to educate and economically empower 1 million girls who never enrolled or dropped out of school due to early marriage, poverty, or lack of access to education. This program is unique because it targets the roots, specifically mothers and caregivers, by supporting them financially. But I want to say this, I reiterate this, government cannot do this alone. Parents, communities, civil society, and the private sector all have vital roles to play in creating awareness, combating stigma, and fostering a culture that celebrates diversity. The example of Lawisa's father is key to ensuring that parents also have a role to play. He could have chosen to leave his children at home, the 3 girls that are blind, but he chose otherwise. He chose to educate them. Everyone has something to do in terms of ensuring opportunity, ensuring access to these girls. I therefore commend Universal Basic Education and other organizations, especially those championing the rights of girls and children with disabilities, for their tireless advocacies and partnership. The theme of this year's celebration, Learn Sign Language Today, is also a personal call to action for each of us. It challenges us to take one simple but powerful step towards inclusion, to learn to communicate in a way that bridges silence with understanding. When we learn sign language, we open doors of friendship, opportunity, and belonging for millions of Nigerians who communicate with their hands, their hearts, and their courage. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, empowering girls with disability is not charity. It is justice. Every girl, whether she speaks or signs, whether she hears or listens through touch, has dreams worth nurturing and potential worth investing in. Our responsibility is to ensure that she has the education, the environment, and the encouragement to thrive. As we mark this year's International Day of the Girl Child, let us renew our commitment to inclusion. Let us teach sign language in our homes and classrooms, and let us use it in our communities as a language of unity, empathy, and equality. When we learn to communicate with every child, we strengthen the bonds that hold our humanity together. On behalf of the Federal Ministry of Education, I celebrate all Nigerian girls, especially those who use sign language to tell their stories. You remind us that silence is not absence. It is another language of strength and resilience. Let us all, beginning today, learn sign language, and in doing so, learn the true meaning of inclusion. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you for putting up this in place for us to have this very amiable and time here. It's with a heart of pleasure and gratitude and spirit of renewed hope that I stand before you today to close the UBEC commemoration of the 2025 International Day of the Girl Child. Today, under the powerful theme, Lead a Change, Learn a Sign Language Today, we have done more than just observe the day. We have ignited the movement. We have looked beyond the traditional narrative, and embraced more inclusive, profound, and urgent call to action. We have affirmed that for every child to truly live, we must first be seen. Child of all her diversities is a cornerstone for our national development. We at UBEC are emboldened by your support and look forward for the policy framework and the resource that will transform today's discussion into tomorrow's reality in every classroom across this nation. To our partners in progress, the DG of NAPTIN, the Executive Secretary of NCPWD, and the President of NCWS, your work is a daily reminder that the challenge facing our girls are multifaceted. I urge you to be pioneers. Start with science, then one phrase. Create an environment where a child with a hearing impairment is not afterthought, but is a central part of the learning experience. I'm inspired today with your confidence, your intelligence, and your grace. On behalf of the management and staff of the Universal Basic Education Commission, I thank you all for participating and for your commitment and your dedication. Thank you all, and God bless the child of Nigeria. Thank you very much.